We've been using this series of eFolio tutorials to acquaint you with the tasks and features of the eFolio interface. And at this point, we're going to take time to use the content you've been creating to actually build out the pages of a site to show you how that can be controlled, what kinds of tasks you can accomplish. So this is a standalone tutorial with its primary focus being that of building pages using your content.
You don't have a lot of content in the site yet, but I have a site where there is quite a bit of content that's been preloaded. And in this particular content, the person has activities and files and images and URLs and YouTube content, all things that you'll learn how to add in future tutorials. But let's say that I want to start populating my page, going along with that theme of my summer employment, and I'll focus on something within Minnesota. So I've uploaded an image previously. And just as we created that welcome in our walkthrough, there's a welcome that's been created here. We'll add that into the sidebar of this site. And now I'm going to move over to the pages, and by clicking on personal info and clicking build, you can see that there's been some content added there. If I click on education and click build, you'll see there's been some content added in that space. Starting to see a theme, I suspect. Coursework has some content, but the kind of content and the message of what the person is using the site for maybe doesn't make the word coursework the best label for that page. So we're going to quickly go in and change that, something you learned how to do in a previous tutorial, to resources. So that it better matches when we actually look at the tool. And you know, the same thing was true for education. The way that's being used in this particular site, education really would be better named personal learning. The photo gallery has a number of images that have been added to it, and there are some web links that have been added into the page that you see in front of you. Well, when we were working on the other site, I was mostly looking at how to add the content and helping you see where it gets placed. Let's go in and see what happens when we preview a site that has this many pages already built out. We'll click on the preview button, and here you see the beginning of a story starting to emerge. Eddie, the fictitious person in our eFolio tutorial series, indicates that he's come from France. He's now living in Minnesota. In that page we just renamed Personal Learning, he shows some research about the history of Minnesota from Wikipedia, and it's in a separate window, so if the person closes it out, they'll go back to the main site. And he's included a map of Minnesota. Now in the personal info area, he shares a little bit more about himself, and he's included a URL, a link, within his text that displays the Explore Minnesota site. In resources, a file that's been uploaded, something you'll learn to do in another tutorial, in this case a PDF file. So when that opens, the resource is readable on the screen. In the photo gallery, images that have been captured, probably from his volunteer work in Minnesota or his exploration as a hiker, and some web links that have introduced him to the folklore of Minnesota, including some YouTube videos that relate to our great U.S. hero. We'll pause that because you can do those things on your own. But that gives you an idea how the layout of content can actually be controlled to build out a framework of a story through the eFolio tools.
You might wish to take some time looking at various examples of other people's portfolio sites. You can do that through the efoliominnesota.com showcase or by going to myefolio.com and looking for the showcase samples there.